on Times Now Super Prime Time.
Well, the only thing worse than censorship is unofficial censorship. And that is what Dr. Megha Kumar has faced. She's joining us from Oxford. She's the author of the book Communalism and Sexual Violence, which has every right to be published. You don't need an RSS Pracharak's permission for it. Rahul Ishwar has a contrary view. He's joining us from Thiruvananthapuram. Sohail Seth is joining us from London. Anand Patwardhan, documentary filmmaker, well-known activist, is joining with us in our studios in Mumbai. Also with me in Mumbai is Sanjay Jha of the Congress Party, and to my right is Sanjeev Punalekar, speaker and advisor of the Sanatan Sanstha. My first question is to Pinky Anand, who represents the BJP tonight. What happened to the BJP, Miss Pinky Anand? A 24-year-old young man was killed in the first incident of communal violence since the Narendra Modi government took over. And books are now not being published because the RSS doesn't like them or may potentially not like them. Why did the BJP lose its voice? Why is the BJP completely silent? Why are we having to force you into some kind of a comment? Why has the Prime Minister said nothing? Why was there no national press conference by India's ruling party to reassure the people of this country that we have not gone into some RSS-controlled Raj? What happened, Pinky Anand?
I'm sorry, I don't know why these questions are being addressed in the first place.
Because your party happens to be the ruling party in the country.
The very simple situation here seems to be that a book has been withheld by the publishers on whatever grounds have been claimed on the basis of a notice. What do you mean, whatever grounds? And you are trying to say that the BJP is responsible?
Yes, because I don't live in a vacuum.
I don't see where...
Yeah, because I don't live in a vacuum.
I don't see, Arnab, where the BJP has anything to do with this.
So what do you have to do with? I mean, a book is not being published. You are the ruling party in this country. What are your views on it?
No, a book is not being published in this country, so you can't even remotely hold the BJP or the government responsible.
So a person has been killed in Pune because of a Facebook post protest. An innocent man has been killed in Pune because of some lynch mobs that were protesting over a Facebook post. What happened to you? You were the party which questioned Kapil Sibal on 66A. You suddenly lost your voice. Why? When will you get your voice back?
Question. If there has been any violence, it will be looked into.
Looked into? This is exactly the kind of comment that you found intolerable when you were in the opposition.
The consequence of that, and talking about a book which the government has nothing to do. Your equation, Arnab, is rather.
I'm really. By the way, By the way, I find you to be following some standard diversionary tactic right now. The fact is that there is a publisher called Orient Blackswan, which has held back a book because of perceived fear of some kind of a backlash. And you should be taking a position on it, saying that there is every right to publish a book.
Have you read their statement, Arnab? Is that what they say?
The author is with me, and the author will confirm. Megha Kumar is from Oxford. No, I'll tell you.
Where is the backlash statement coming from?
Miss Pinky Anand, if you have a choice here. You can say tonight on TV that our party does not have the courage to say anything that may offend the RSS. I'll completely understand where you're coming from, but to try and avoid the question is not appropriate. Is it true or not?
There is no understanding required from your part.
Well, I don't know. I said that you may say.
Where your issue is coming from, that is my problem.
There is a book. There is a book. There is a book.
And several other.
There is a book.
How is the BJP involved in that process?
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Because there is a book. And the book is not written by some academic quack. The book is written by an Oxford-based Rhodes scholar called Dr. Megha Kumar, who now joins me from Oxford. Megha Kumar, is it true, Megha, that you got a letter on May 16th, the day the results were out, that you were told on the 16th of May? One second, listen to her. When were you told that your book was being put on hold? And what reasons were you given?
On the 19th of May, I received a letter from the publisher, Orient Blackswan, stating that they have decided to put the book on hold because they've received a legal notice against another book that they published about 10 years ago called Plassey to Partition, which is by an eminent historian, Sekhar Bandyopadhyay. They say in their letter that the reasons for withholding the book are A, that they have decided to put several books on review that may elicit a similar response, And pending the completion of a comprehensive assessment, the book will be withheld.
What comprehensive assessment?
They said that they fear that there might be violent attacks against their authors, the families of the authors.
No, this is the issue, therefore. See, Megha, Dr. Megha Kumar, frankly, I find this whole what they have written to you completely questionable. This whole business of a comprehensive assessment. I mean, you are a well-known scholar, and therefore, if they agreed to publish your book, if they have decided after the elections to carry out a comprehensive assessment because they fear there may be a violent backlash, then it is something which we must all oppose. It's intimidation, nothing else. I find this to be a clear case of intimidation. I want to know from those who don't think it is not, what kind of argument they present. Rahul Ishwar first. This is intimidation.
Arnabji, liberty is one of the highest cherished values we have. But remember, we also have responsibility. My heart totally goes to our Mohsin Sheikh who passed away. May his soul rest in peace. But you should always remember, even regarding this book or Wendy Doniger's book, liberty is really good, but responsibility is also here. We are living in a very diverse nation. We should be sensitive to the sensibilities of many people. That doesn't mean we have to curtail academic freedom. That only means responsibility is there. And one very important thing, freedom of expression also means freedom of protest. But what did Batraji do? Batraji went to court earlier. Batraji sent a legal notice. Don't we even have the right to send to...
Who is this Batra?
Don't we even have right to send a legal notice?
Who is this Batra? This Batra is an RSS Pracharak who has not even read Megha Kumar's book. Who is this Batra? Do I need the permission of Pracharak to decide what is to come out or not? Are you saying that I cannot, this country cannot publish anything critical of the RSS? Who is the RSS? Are they the unofficial censors of this country?
He's a common man of India.
What old man of India has not even read the book? No, don't give me. You see, you expressed outrage. People like you expressed outrage when Salman Rushdie was prevented from attending the Jaipur Lit Festival in 2012, and also when there were calls to express Taslima Nasreen and one of her books releases were cancelled. Your silence is palpable now.
Here
your silence is palpable now. You are being thoroughly exposed.
Going for court.
Come on.
No. Even please. In my case, I went against M.F. Hussain in the court and won the verdict.
Understand?
We are going in a judicial way.
One sec. You see, the danger is, please realize, we must never let some lynch mobs believe that they came to power. They didn't come to power, you see. The BJP came to power. And if there are some guys who are trying to latch on and say that, you know, we'll latch on, and then the BJP, Pinky Anand, and you're getting upset, it's a responsibility of the BJP as a responsible political party to dissociate itself from such forces. Forces like the Hindu Rashtra Sangh. What is it? Sena. Who is this Hindu Rashtra Sena, and what right do they have? 13 of the people who were arrested in these, following these riots in Pune, were members of the Hindu Rashtra Sena. What kind of lynch mob?
No, that can never be justified.
What kind of lynch mob is it?
They are responsible for all this mess. I must tell you that this lynch mob word which you have used, I agree with that the young man was lynched and he was killed. But I was receiving phone calls right from Sunday evening, wherein various people were telling that they were going to police station and Maharashtra police was refusing to lodge a complaint. They have booked many youngsters for arguing with the police. Now the youngsters were asking us from different places. As an advocate, they were asking.
No, this is like a murderer who comes and says that please ask the police in what circumstances did I carry out a murder.
The police did not do it because the youngsters in Maharashtra were asking that for Amir Khan's some defamation, within 24 hours you are going to Karnataka and arresting a person. And FIR you are not taking. So you are discriminating between the people. Only some sections have. And that anger was simmering, and this has not happened in Pune.
I don't understand.
This has what happened in Pune.
I think it's,
I must tell you.
I don't think I understand your argument.
No, this was an aberration.
What aberration? A 24-year-old man.
Maharashtra government was responsible for that. Maharashtra government. I am asking you one more thing. Now Ravi Shankar Prasad, who is a minister. Now there is a man called Gulshan Rai in his department. When the Raza Academy riot took place, within 8 hours he has blocked all our websites for publishing the news of the riots. And thereafter, even now our websites are blocked after almost 2 years. Now why did you not block that? These riots would have been avoided.
Do you know, 1 second please. Please hold yourself back, Sanjeev Punarikar. A 24-year-old man has been killed. He was beaten repeatedly with hockey sticks.
I know it.
Right? Now you know what? You can take advantage. Only a bunch of 2,000 cowards can create that kind of a situation.
I agree with you.
And I also want to tell you this, that this Hindu Rashtra Sena may not be an affiliate of the BJP, Pinky Anand, but the fact is that BJP leaders have shared several dioceses with leaders of the Hindu Rashtra Sena in the past. Therefore, the BJP, in my view, cannot be quiet tonight. There should have been a national press conference in Delhi by the BJP so that the position of the BJP is clear. That is the responsibility BJP leaders must now realize is on them. To try and run away from that, Sohail said, to try and run away from that, to pretend that it is a non-issue is no alternative in my view, Sohail said, before I come to both of you.
First, a Muslim wasn't killed in Pune, an Indian was. Narendra Modi is India's Prime Minister. BJP is the ruling party in the Indian government. Within the Indian political system, you know, there are 3 or 4 things here, Arnab, and please allow me to finish this one strain of thought. Number one, anything of this kind adds greater disservice and damages the brand of Narendra Modi's governance model more than it does good. So all these guys who think they're more loyal than the king to the king himself are actually doing him and the party and whatever it stands for great disservice. Number two, I completely agree. Pinky, I'm not a political votary for either the Congress or the BJP. This day today more than ever before, if one statement had been made by anyone from the BJP or anyone from the government,
not one word,
we find this to be detestable, reprehensible and needs to be punished, it would swing the balance, because there are people who are baying for your blood. They want to believe that a Hindu Rashtra has come to be, whereas that's not the case.
No, it's not about baying for blood, Sohail. So it's about asking straight questions. No, nobody is. No, I'm sorry. I don't think we are baying for the BJP's blood.
Correct.
What I am saying is, that this is
not you and I. I'm saying
no. I don't think we can give them that leeway. By the way, we can't give the BJP that leeway.
I'm talking about lynch mobs. I'm talking about lynch mobs. I'm talking about lynch mobs. Number three, we cannot but be a tolerant India because of our diversity. Everyone has accepted that and everyone has to live with it. We can't wish away the minorities we have. We can't wish away our Muslim brothers and sisters. We can't wish away our Hindu brothers and sisters. So why on earth are we creating divisiveness when this is the best time to create unity and integrity through diversity? And my final point is that, you know, this Dinanath Batra and all these kind of people are representative of conservative thought which does not value books for books. If you have a problem, now Rahul Ishwaran made a point that liberty does not come without responsibility. Fair. Let there be contrarian thought. If you ban a book, how do you change contrarian thinking? Books have to be replied by with books. Books can't be replied by with stones and with lynch mobs and with banning things.
But I think the source of the problem, the source of the problem must be tackled. The source of the problem must be tackled.
If the public decides to review it, you don't call it ban. There's no question of
you are living in denial, Pinky Anand. So you ask, what I am telling you is, Pinky Anand, that the book has been held back because it is believed, this book and the previous book, it is believed that it may upset the RSS. Why don't you understand that?
Sorry, Arnab, that is your belief. Please go
it is not my belief. It is the basis of the withdrawal by the book publishers. Why don't you accept the reality, Pinky Anand? What is the problem?
I think it's high time that you accept the reality.
Which reality?
So, Pinky, here's my strategic...
No, watch, Sohail, 1 minute, Sohail. I think, Pinky Anand, I am asking you this today. Why should there be a recall of any book that chronicles sexual crimes against women in Gujarat at a time when crimes against women is the greatest subject of concern in the country? What is wrong if saying that we want to know the link between communal violence and sexual violence? Does it embarrass the RSS?
I suggest you ask that to the publishers.
Communalize sexual violence.
I think
what communalize sexual violence?
Would be to ask the
Have you read the book that you are coming to those conclusions?
Has done any action.
1 minute. Is there no link between sexual violence during communal riots? Megha Kumar, what is the basic thesis? 1 minute. Just a minute.
The contents of the book to say anything.
Well, in that case, you should allow me to read the book to make up my mind. And you cannot create a situation in this country. You cannot create a situation in this country where there is fear among publishers.
What you say, but where is you? When you say you, I cannot understand that part, because I don't think...
I am saying you means the RSS. The RSS cannot create a situation in this country. The RSS and Dinanath Batra is the pracharak of the Rashtra Swayamsevak Sangh. Why don't you understand that? You have an umbilical cord relationship with the RSS.
The RSS are right in this country to raise an issue about what is or not contained in a book. If they have,
I think you're not getting the point.
Anybody being a member of RSS is disqualified.
You know, you're not getting the point. I just want to get in Mr. Patwardhan and Sanjay
I think we're not going to get each
and I think you must understand this. You know, you must understand this, Pinky Anand. Pinky Anand, I'll tell you this.
So obviously there's no
please understand, Miss Pinky Anand. The fact of the matter is this controversy is out, and I am saying, asking everyone whether they are in favor of a culture of intolerance, where there is such extreme insensitivity to anybody with any point of view which you disagree with. And this is not just legal intimidation.
Are you saying
this is quasi-political intimidation. The publishers pulled back the book after the general election results. Anand Patwardhan, please. I really find it strange today. In any other situation, Miss Pinky Anand, Anand Patwardhan.
A matter of legal intimidation.
Why are you silent when people are withdrawing books which are offensive to the RSS? Why are you silent? I want you to speak today on it.
It is not about RSS. If you are having a word like legal intimidation, you are insulting judiciary. When somebody goes to a legal recourse, people should be respecting that. Nobody is issuing a fatwa. Nobody is issuing a violent threat. It is only going through a legal recourse.
This is not legal recourse. The publishers withdraw the book voluntarily, and then you say, ask the publishers why they do it. The publishers withdraw the book because, and I quote, they believe that the pre-release assessment of books that might attract similar reactions. They say we are withdrawing the book because of fears of risk of violence, endangering their life and safety.
Adnan, what about the first statement? Why do you ignore the first statement? Why do you only look at the second statement?
The publisher is voluntarily releasing the books because they fear for their life and safety. They fear violence. This is not our country or what?
The first part of it says the book is under consideration.
Ma'am, I really think that you have gone into a warp today on this subject. Anand Patwardhan.
No.
Anand Patwardhan.
Yeah, I just want to say that it's a very sad day, because what happened in Pune had nothing to do with the Facebook post as such, in the sense that the person who was killed, Mohsin Sheikh, was not the person who did the Facebook post. He had nothing to do with it. He was killed only because he was a Muslim, only because he looked like he was a Muslim. He was wearing a cap, a Muslim cap, and that's why he was targeted. And the people who killed him knowing that he had nothing to do with the Facebook post. They killed him only because of his religion.
I think that's a very unfortunate statement being made by anybody.
What is unfortunate about it? It's a fact.
That's very unfortunate.
It's unfortunate that you think it's unfortunate.
No, it is not a fact.
Well, it is an absolute fact. What are you talking about,
There is lynch mentality. Are you trying to say that it is based upon a particular aspect? That is unfortunate.
What? Oh, I really don't. I really think you are not aware today of the facts, because a person was killed when this mob was protesting against morphed pictures of Shivaji and Bal Thackeray. You don't know the facts. Ask anybody what happened out there.
Therefore, if people are protesting about something,
so what are you saying?
It's a targeted attack. That is the unfortunate part.
Of course it is a targeted attack. This young boy was killed because he looked like a Muslim. What is the eyewitness and documented evidence that is there?
No, that is your interpretation.
What is your interpretation? Don't give me your interpretation argument out here. This is a very serious situation, and you are being completely
a Muslim victim complex. I think will do more harm.
I really think, Pinky Anand, you're going around in circles tonight. Sanjay,
I want to ask you a question. This is Sanjay here, in case you don't know who is talking to you. There is a clear, sinister, organized pattern
You're
emerging.
Always very distinctive, Sanjay.
And Pinky, I can tell you it's about what has happened to the person.
Now, don't start your philosophy of organized pattern.
Pinky, can I speak without an interruption, please? If you don't mind.
Not if you give a thesis.
Well, I can tell you the people of Newshour can see the intimidation even now happening in a TV studio. So let me finish. Let me finish. I want to ask you just one simple question.
Ask a question.
Well, let me tell you, there is a gentleman by the name of U.R. Anantamurthy, who is a very well-known, respected writer of Kannada literature. He was threatened, and he's been given a single-way ticket to Pakistan by a group calling themselves the Namo Brigade. Now, I don't have to tell you that the Namo Brigade is an abbreviation for the current Prime Minister of India. Do you believe that the BJP does not need to condemn that the Prime Minister does not need to make a statement, that you can actually use cultural policing to harass a respected old writer and not make a statement, although the name Namo Brigade is prominent? You ignore that?
What is the question?
No, 1 minute. I'm giving you a second example. There is a Facebooker in Goa who made a statement who's undergoing a custodial interrogation threat because he mentioned something about Mr. Modi coming into government, and he made certain statements. Now, no matter how objectionable they may be, your party that was making such a big hullabaloo about Sanjay, freedom of expression is so conspicuous by its silence. No, I want to tell you, Pinky, 1 minute. I think the people of India, I believe, have voted for the BJP on certain economic and other issues. But if you are taking this to be a mandate for Hindutva, you may be making a huge and a colossal blunder.
To make this out.
No, I don't know. You just kept interrupting while I spoke. But I can tell you this is not a mandate for Hindutva.
Dear Sanjay ji,
you have not been given a mandate for Hindutva in this country. I don't think the people of India, young and old, have voted you for that.
I don't know.
Instead of trying to spear up this vicious campaign that you are trying to
I'll tell you who's vicious.
All you're trying to do is
happened
in Pune today.
An organized campaign.
1 minute, Pinky, you haven't even condemned the brutal incident by which a life, just like a Nirbhaya, just like a soldier on the borders of
Absolutely.
How is this life different
from
Nirbhaya?
What has happened is very unfortunate.
What else do you want me to say? As a citizen of India, not as a Congress spokesperson. How is the gentleman's life different from Nirbhaya? How is the gentleman's life different from a soldier who gets killed on the borders of India and Pakistan? Just give me that answer. And why is the BJP not feeling a sense of revulsion over what's happening?
Your rhetoric is over, may I?
No, thanks for interrupting me all the way through, but I won't interrupt you.
I said it thrice over that it is very unfortunate what has happened. So I don't know what more you want me to say.
I want to ask you, Miss Pinky Anand, I want to ask you whether in your view, a person called Dhananjay Desai, what is he? He's something in this Hindu Rashtra Sena. What is he? Chief of this so-called Hindu Rashtra Sena. This fellow, Dhananjay Desai, he says all kinds of things. I want to know why he should not be now, really taken in, questioned. His role, his antecedents, that of all of his groups, what they have said or not said, and a really detailed investigation, maybe at the central level, maybe the central government should actually inquire into the activities of this Hindu Rashtra Sena, because they make the kind of comments that are intolerable in this country. He says on May 13th, he says, if fanatic Muslims are to be curbed, it cannot be done by following the non-violence policy adopted by Nehru and Gandhi. Right? And then he goes on to say, and also the Sanatan Sanstha with respect to, to Mr. Sanjeev Punalekar out here, the Sanatan Sanstha, it says, after Narendra Dabholkar, the rationalist, was killed in Pune, it says, instead of dying bedridden through illness or some surgery, such a death for Dabholkar is a blessing of the Almighty. 1 minute.
Precisely, we have objected.
No, what is the objected?
That's freedom of expression.
I believe today that it is, I believe today it will be a medieval, I believe today that these are, why are you getting upset, Pinky Anand? I believe that these are the kind of people.
Are you expounding only certain
I am saying what I am saying, Pinky Anand. I am saying today that these are the venomous comments of venomous people, and these people should be brought to book. This is our country. It does not belong to these fundamentalists.
These are double standards.
What double standards? I am asking you about this.
I am asking you one question. When on the Facebook something is posted about a person on the Balasaheb Thackeray's death, and High Court protects that girl, and then after Dabholkar says, Sanatan Sanstha cannot put it. I mean, you are trying to say that.
Was this said or not? Did your leader say this or not? Did your leader say this or not? You stand by that.
Yes,
you stand by that kind of comment. So then I want to know, this is the lynch mob mindset.
High Court has stood by the girl.
Mr. Patwardhan, this is and tonight I would like to say to you on your face right here on the program, I would like to say to you that the fact that the Bharatiya Janata Party, India's ruling party, does not take you head on, and that the central government does not, and that the state government and the central government and the ruling party and all political parties don't take you head on, is the reason why these kind of comments continue to be made and why groups like yours proliferate. That is all that I am saying here today. Anand Patwardhan. One minute. Anand Patwardhan, please. You've heard this kind of response.
Yeah,
I'm sure you heard them before.
Yes.
Let him talk about the Facebook also.
Let him speak for himself, please, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, this is the reason that we campaign very hard to ensure that Narendra Modi and his government, his party does not come to power. We failed. But the reason we were fighting was because we believed in a secular democracy, which we were afraid that once they come to power, this will be endangered.
No, are you politicizing this? Why aren't you questioning the Congress NCP government as well? I said all political parties.
I am not a friend.
I said all political parties.
I am not a friend of the Congress. You know that. You know that I have not been a supporter of the Congress. But the point is not that. The point is
you decided what the situation is.
The point I'm making is that we feared that
the point is you tried
this kind of a government would allow
the normal way. The other
but the government is the state government. Are you being kind on the Congress NCP government? Law and order is a state subject.
That's right.
So while I am saying all political parties, including the BJP, you are saying Narendra Modi.
No, I'm not.
Why aren't you saying Prithviraj Chavan?
No, I'm not saying only Narendra Modi.
Why aren't you saying Prithviraj Chavan?
I'm not saying.
Why aren't you saying Sharad Pawar?
Let me come. The state government has actually made very prompt and
playing politics using the death of a Muslim man
and has not allowed the situation to escalate. I think the Maharashtra government has performed really well here. I think the bigger issue.
Don't say that.
I tell you. No, 1 minute.
Don't register an FIR. I will give you one word.
I can give you only one example here, and that is the tragedy of today, is that the Bharatiya Janata Party, which recognizes that these are all lunatic elements, fringe elements, whatever they may be, but they are all extreme right-wing thuggery that you're seeing on display. Its silence is actually in a great number of ways an endorsement, and that is something that the Bharatiya Janata Party will have to categorically take a stance on.
I want to ask
you can't be taking a sanctimonious position in a television studio while you silently allow violence to happen on grounds of pure religious hate.
Only one line request.
And I think that Pinky answered that question.
My request to Sanjay Jha is to make an appeal through the television channel. My request to Sanjay Jha is to make an appeal through television channel to the Prithviraj Chavan to start the trial of the Azad Maidan riots 2 years back.
Don't do this.
Please let him do that.
That has nothing to do with what happened.
That is with intolerance.
That has nothing to do with what has happened in Pune, and I'm taking
that was the basis because the people were angry.
What do you mean that was the basis?
100% because people are encouraged by the Congress behavior. This is like that the people who are killing are going scot-free. They are going scot-free.
Tell me which government in the world can anticipate at a given moment of time 7 people will get together and lynch somebody to death?
They would have known it on Saturday.
I'm sorry, no government in the world can anticipate.
You do not know the history of Maharashtra.
Kind of
Sunday they should have known it. Sunday they should have known it.
Malevolent.
If Prithviraj Chavan doesn't know the history of Maharashtra, you have no right to remain in power. If Shivaji
you can't kill an innocent person and say where was the government when the violence happened?
Where was it on Sunday, Monday?
I would like to remind the
stop making an absurd allegation.
1 minute, just a minute.
There was no government for 2 days.
Divert from the issue.
I would like to remind the BJP tonight that the BJP had backed this man called Dinanath Batra, who is the self-styled unofficial censor of India. And he is a man who has said all kinds of things. But I also would like to remind the BJP tonight, Pinky Anand, and don't take it otherwise, that you were very outraged, you as in your party, when this man called Asim Trivedi was arrested. He was this cartoonist, and you compared it to the emergency, right? You were very outraged when Narendra Modi's interview was edited on Doordarshan. All I'm saying tonight, why don't you have the same standards to members of the Sangh Parivar who are using legal means to carry out what I think is illegal intimidation of publishers? Food for thought. I'm coming back on the other side. Megha Kumar, before I go into a break, simple point to you. Tell me broadly, why do you think your book is being held back? Why?
Really, Arnab, this is a question that I'm afraid only the publisher can answer, because I have not received any communication from them. I have asked them to clarify what it is that they intend to review, considering that the book was subjected to a very rigorous academic review over the last 2 years. You know, as far as I'm concerned, there is nothing objectionable about the book. It's a historical piece of work. It's been done with the best empirical methodology that universities can teach. So this is a question that only, I'm afraid, the publisher can answer.
Well, I think now that now that we have a very strong and stable government, we'd like the government of India to take a point of view on this, so that the problem is nipped in the bud. I'm going to come back on the other side. This debate continues. We have more questions for the BJP and the Sanatan Sanstha tonight. Rahul Ishwar, I'd like to come back by going straight to you. See, the Supreme Court, while lifting the ban on James Lane's book on Shivaji in 2010, said it was important to view a book in its entirety rather than focusing on sentences and passages that may be perceived as being offensive. And in the Rangarajan versus Jagjivan Ram judgment, and I'm only going into legality because Pinky Anand is using the legal argument, it clearly said that the right of freedom of expression also extended to ideas that offend, shock or disturb the state or a sector of the population. So overreaction and legal intimidation in response is maybe it's a legal right, but it is a sign of intolerance to views other than your own. And my concern today is with intolerance.
Arnabji, two things. One, liberty is to be enjoyed responsibly. Second, and one very important aspect you should remember is, if somebody is offended with something, if somebody is having an issue with something, they are not issuing a fatwa, they are not going for a violent protest. What happened in Pune was unfortunate. When you say something is called legal intimidation, you are in effect insulting judiciary. The right way for the opposite side is to fight in the court. Why can't MF Hussain sir fight in the court? Why can't Wendy Doniger fight in the court? So let them come to court.
Why didn't you tell Taslima Rasteen to fight in the court? Why didn't you tell Salman Rushdie to fight in the court?
But there are some Lakshmana Rekhas.
It's a rubbish.
Okay, Salman, once a
and who banned satanic verses? It was the Congress government which banned satanic verses.
1 second. Sohail Said wants to come back on that. Sohail Said, please. Few more minutes on the debate. Sohail.
The biggest mistake we will all make in this debate is if we give it the color of religion. That Hindus are intolerant, Muslims are intolerant. The fact is that as a society, we've allowed intolerance to breach law and order. We've allowed the intolerant lumpen elements, and I don't believe they belong to any religion, to take the law into their own hands. And then either the minority or the majority holds back and says, oh my God, we can't do anything. The point I made earlier was this is the best time for the Narendra Modi government to say, we will adhere to the tolerance principles of India. And we will not give in to divisive groups, whether it is Dinanath Batra or Bukhari or whoever the hell these people are.
Precisely.
Because they don't represent us.
Precisely.
They represent themselves. They represent vested interest. They represent politics and religion's nexus, which, by the way, Congress is as guilty. Congress, when Nirbhaya's horrific crime happened on December 16th,
I agree with you, the Congress
when did Manmohan Singh finally open his mouth, if ever? So the point is, Sanjay Jha and Pinky Anand, please don't bring this into a Congress versus BJP debate. It's about the India we want versus the India we decry. It's the India we should have versus the India we should be ashamed of. That's the nub of the debate.
No.
And it has nothing to do with BJP or Congress.
I agree with you.
It has to do with us.
I think it's a very nice statement that you're making. I have no two thoughts about it. So very good. We do believe in this one India. But please tell me, why should BJP, why should the government go around disclaiming any element and saying they don't belong to us or they don't subscribe?
I'll tell you why, Pinky. I'll tell you why, Pinky. Perceptually,
where you have
Pinky, you're right. You're absolutely right. Pinky, you're absolutely right. Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. Because the so-called limousine liberals in India, Pinky, listen to me. I'll tell you why you have to do it. You have been painted into a corner by certain sections of liberal media which believe that Modi is anti-minorities, BJP is for Hindus, and BJP and RSS are a combined.
No.
This is the perception.
I do not think that any time any step is taken by
Sanjay Jha to Sohail.
1 minute. Sohail said nobody is painting. Nobody from the liberal media is trying to paint Mr.
Allow
Modi
people to exercise their rights, Sohail.
Which is why I'm not even using the word. If you remember, Pinky,
why don't you find out that Sana was never released?
Pinky, if you recall my opening remarks, my remarks were the government should take a stand, not a political party.
I do not find this in the fairness of situation to force any statement out of anybody. This itself is also a kind of pressure tactic for nothing.
Why was Malika Sarabhai hounded?
No, what about anything? The question is
by the Gujarat government when Mr. Modi was the chief minister. So please do not believe that the liberal media...
that is your statement. That is your statement and that is
the soul of the one at a time. Rahul Ishwar, one at a time. Rahul Ishwar. Rahul Ishwar, one at a time. Rahul
there
Ishwar,
is one legal notice given.
Arnabji,
there is one objection
diversity implies
and you try to lump it all on the BJP.
No, I'll tell you why. Now, Pinky Anand, can I have a say? Can I just say two things? I want to say something. I want to say one thing to the Congress and to the BJP. No. 1 second. I want to say.
There are laws in this country which come under 19(2), which are reasonable restrictions.
You know something. I know all that. I know this whole reasonable restrictions argument by heart, ma'am. I'll just tell you this. What I am saying to you, what I am saying to you is a logical and not a legal argument.
The land doesn't run.
No, I am presenting to you tonight with a logical and not legal argument.
Law is based on logic. Law is not based in the air.
Fine. So I am presenting to you. I am presenting to you a logical argument.
When you have 153A,
I am presenting to you.
94, when you have all these sections,
Miss Anand, just a minute. One minute. Pinky Anand, just 2 minutes. It does not mean. Please now let me complete, Pinky Anand. It does not mean that every logical argument has to be a legal argument. And it also does not mean that an argument which is not legal is illogical. My point is very simple. Look at the roots of this man, Dinanath Batra. Dinanath Batra is a part of an organization called Shiksha Sanskriti Utthan Nyas. Shiksha Sanskriti Utthan Nyas is a direct affiliate of the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh. On top of it, he is an RSS pracharak. So the fingerprints of the Sangha Parivar are totally on the activities of Dinanath Mishra. I told you that it will be difficult for you. But it is your responsibility to show today you will be fair to everyone, especially members of the Sangh Parivar when they do wrong things, which is in this case a case of intimidation. Otherwise, what happened? These people like Dinanath Mishra will be emboldened. What's Anand Patwardhan wants to add something to that? Anand Patwardhan.
I don't quite think, Arnab, your program is a session on training as to what is to be done. Are you saying that either A, the RSS has no right to raise objection? Are you saying that for the last 2 years when the book was under review, because anybody else is doing?
What I am saying is,
Arnab, this is taking it too far.
What I am saying is that man can do his pedagogy within the RSS. He cannot do the pedagogy nationally.
Not only this book, but other books are under review.
I am saying that you must strengthen publishers, and you must tell publishers, don't be afraid. If your government must say to publishers, don't be afraid of publishing books critical of the RSS.
I'm afraid you'll have to let the publishers decide for themselves rather than to put it over our shoulders to say what we should tell them and what we should not tell them.
Distant relatives play foul while they'll sit back and gain political dividends and maintain their very dignified silence over the violence.
No, but I'll tell you one thing. No, Sanjay Jha.
2 years that the book was under review, was it as the asking of anybody?
Can I say one thing?
Are you going to hold the publishers also responsible for anything?
No, Pinky Anand, 1 second. I'll tell you, Sanjay, at the same time, resist this whole temptation to become this, the biggest champion of free speech today. Because I'll tell you one thing, Salman Rushdie, you ask him today, he was sued for defamation by Indira Gandhi over a single sentence in Midnight's Children. Okay? They later agreed to an out-of-court settlement. And more than that, Sanjay Jha, you remember the Shiv Sena may have actually gone on a rampage in response to the James Lane book. But it was a Congress government that banned the book. I'm just so you have your hands are not clean on that. No, there's nothing to debate. I'm saying you're as bad. Anand Patwardhan.
Yeah. The fear that I have is that
that is where the Congress government did it.
Instead of
I am talking of Dinanath Batra, by the way, not Dinanath Mishra. I correct myself. Yes, go ahead.
The fear that I have is that when the NDA was in power earlier, the censor board itself had RSS people in it.
Yeah.
The censor board actually stopped films like Final Solution from being shown.
Yeah.
My film War and Peace, they wanted a cut where I said that Nathuram Godse, a Hindu, killed Mahatma Gandhi. They wanted that removed.
Yeah.
So this is the kind of censor board that we had at that time. I hope that we are not going to have that again.
Yeah.
And I think that freedom of expression has to be protected today, especially. My real worry is that it's not just the government, but what is happening. What happened in Pune is that the people who think that they are directly affiliated with this ideology, but they are the people who do not have any rules, can do exactly what they like. They feel empowered. They feel empowered.
No. I originally said that this Pune, what happened was an aberration, but this happened because of lethargy of the government.
I
must add 2 points to what Arnav said. Before I discuss anything, I will add 2 points. First, when we are talking about censorship,
only one thing. 1 minute. What is Pinky Anand's objection? Yes, Miss Anand, what's your objection?
I was just debating. I said this aberration is not the statement. It is what happened. There is very unfortunate. There is no question about it.
Yes, so exactly. So don't use the word aberration.
I am saying this. I was making another point. The first book which was banned in India because of this, the so-called draconian law and what we are referring to, was a book called Rangila Rasool. And then the Congress party under Mahatma Gandhi was the first to support it. I must say this first. Let me say this. Who has brought this censorship to appease the section?
So
how intolerance comes.
So the first book
was Rangila Rasool. So the historical mistakes are to be set right. Rangila Rasool ban has to be lifted first. Let all of us agree. Second thing.
So you are justifying violence
about fear
happening today.
No, Rangila Rasool.
Using some historical.
Will you support
I have
censorship.
My suggestion is I think there's a suggestion. The suggestion is simply, sir, Mr. Punalekar, we can debate it. I feel it should be nipped in the bud. And I think all political parties can, and I'm genuinely saying, issue a separate statement, you know, not just condemning, but warning against those who believe they will get political support of any kind for any kind of violence. And I do believe that intimidation of the kind that Dr. Megha Kumar is facing is also some kind of violence, or her publishers are facing. It is violence, whether it is not allowing a book, not allowing a film, or actually carrying out a lynch mob attack on the streets of Pune. It can be stopped. Let's see whether political parties have the courage to do that. Thank you very much for joining me on debate number 2 on the Newshour tonight.